Welcome to the Beat DC podcast. My name is Jamal Simmons. This is our very first edition of our podcast. Jeff Johnson from the Man Cave is going to be there. But right now, I am here with the editor-in-chief, the woman who runs the whole show, Tiffany Cross. Tiffany, hi.
Thanks for tuning in to our first inaugural The Beat DC podcast.
So, Tiffany, you spend all day, every day, starting at the crack of dawn, figuring out what's going on in the world, the things that are important for people to know, when you send out the Beat newsletter that goes out around the country. So what is there that happened this week that people should pay attention to?
So last week, the House passed legislation that repeals Obama's signature legislation, the Affordable Care Act. And it's a very complicated, healthcare is very complicated, as the president has just found out and let everybody know. And as complicated as it is...
Oh, you know what's funny? I'm sorry. When you say the president, I still think President Barack Obama.
Don't we all?
But you're thinking about Donald Trump?
We all?
Okay. All right, I'm sorry.
But I will only say the president. I won't put those two together. I'll say the president, full stop, period, or Donald Trump. I'll throw up in my mouth a little bit. But anyway... so they repealed the ACA, and so they did this ridiculous premature victory lap, because I don't think the president has quite fully wrapped his mind around the way government works, and it still has to make it out of the Senate, which I think is going to take some Don Corleone-type maneuvering to do. But I really wouldn't put it past them, because they obviously made some of these members offers they couldn't refuse, because they were actually toasting to Bud Light yesterday, and I don't know if you saw the picture, but it's literally a sea full of mostly white men celebrating knocking almost 24 million people off their health insurance.
So it was like a hockey game.
Absolutely. It was like a hockey game, but much less entertaining.
So something big has happened in Beyonce's husband land.
Oh my God, yes. So I know everybody was mad at Van Jones, okay? Van Jones was trying to really walk the middle of the road with his show, The Messy Truth. And I think some of his left-leaning base support got a little frustrated with some of the praise that he would dote on the current president. But that Messy Truth has got some blue magic now, because he has signed on with Jay-Z. Jay-Z is going to be managing Van Jones, which I find interesting, because the question I have is, will Van Jones now have to throw the dynasty sign every time he signs off the Messy Truth? I'll be watching. I'll see.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And we did start by thinking of him as Beyonce's husband, because we know that that's one of the real reasons people pay attention to Jay-Z these days.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. What else is going on?
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about are all these governors of color around the country. So I know everybody's still super...
Wait a minute, we don't have governors of color.
Potential.
Okay.
But you have to speak it into existence.
Yeah.
So I know everybody's still really upset about the last election, which, moment of silence. But the good thing is we're just 2 years away from a new election cycle, and so all across the country there are at least 7 people of color who have either already filed paperwork to run for governor or who are exploring a gubernatorial run, which is really exciting.
And the last time, what did we have? So we had Deval Patrick in Massachusetts.
Yep.
And did we have another governor of color anywhere?
I don't think so.
I feel like maybe not.
If people hit us up at info@thebeatdc.com if we did, but I cannot think of another governor of color.
Yeah, not in a long time.
Who was serving when Deval Patrick was in office. But the news that came out last week, Andrew Gillum in Florida, young guy, 37 years old.
Mayor of Tallahassee.
Mayor of Tallahassee, FAMU graduate. This dude has raised over $1 million already. And so I know that sometimes, people make like a really good effort just for showing, just to keep their name relevant. But he's actually put some money behind this campaign in Florida. We know they're very relevant politically. It's a purple state. I think it went red last election cycle. It went for Trump. But Barack Obama carried it twice before then.
And here's what's interesting about Andrew Gillum is he's going to be running against Gwen Graham, who is the daughter of former Florida Governor Bob Graham, who I will admit was my old boss, Bob Graham.
Jamal has worked for every single person. We can say any name, entertainment, politics, you've worked for.
I've been in politics for a long time, so I worked for a lot of these people. But she is sort of considered to be the big person on the ballot that people are rallying around. But you've got somebody like Andrew Gillum who's out there, who's raising money and who is making the rounds, and people, I think, are starting to get impressed. So that could end up being a very interesting contest.
Completely, and he's a fresh face. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, the one thing that Donald Trump did do was inspire people who have not necessarily had this long track record politically, which he doesn't. So, yeah, I think he's going to make some waves in Florida.
And do we have one more before we go?
Yeah, one more. Really quickly, I want to talk about this woman, Deborah Haaland. She is running for Congress in New Mexico.
Yep.
And this just blows my mind that she may be the first Native American to be in Congress if she wins her election, which is insane.
That's nuts.
Exactly. They are the indigenous people of this nation, and to think that we've never had a Native American in Congress. We already know a Native American woman. We already know that the diversity is horrible in the United States Congress. It definitely doesn't reflect the country, which is why everybody out there paying attention, I hope, is registered to vote or will get engaged politically. But the fact that just they are literally the founders of this nation, and have never been adequately represented in Congress is just mind-boggling.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you, Tiffany. This was great. We are about to come back with somebody I'm pretty excited about. We're going to bring Jeff Johnson on. You know him as Cousin Jeff from BET from back in the day. He's cut off the locks. He's now clean cut and ready to go. He's got a brand new show coming out on the BET called The Man Cave. We're going to talk to Jeff Johnson about what he's been doing and what's coming up on The Man Cave on BET. And we'll be right back on the BDC.